Testing. Okay. All right. Now that we're all here, welcome to East Belgrade Day 1. I'll be your MC for today, Alisha, but you can call me Aki. Some say it's Slovenian heritage, but we won't get into that. Super glad to see you all here. And this is called the the Belgrade track. Last year it was the Builders track. And it is my great honor to welcome Matej from Oasis to open up this track, and he'll be talking about Oasis Sapphire and privacy in use. Take it away.
Dobar dan svima. But there's not a lot of Serbians here, so I'm just gonna stick to English. I'm Matej from Oasis. I'm the BD manager here. I've been with the team for quite a bit, and our focus is on bringing privacy to Web3. So we're gonna dive a little bit more into that. The slide's already here. So, what is Oasis? You know, the short tagline is smart privacy for Web3 and AI. But we're gonna dissect it a little bit through this short talk about what we offer in terms of on-chain privacy for native dApps, how we can offer this cross-chain for other EVM applications, other EVM blockchains and dApps on those blockchains as well. And we're gonna go through the use cases. The talk is privacy in use, and I don't want to just go through the high-level stuff, but talk about concrete examples, how this can be utilized and what benefits this can bring to the blockchain world. So, try it again. It's not working. Did I break it? Let's try it one more time. Perfect. Okay. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about the architecture of Oasis. What's special about the Oasis network is that we have a layered architecture, or we basically have native rollups, right? So we have the consensus layer, which is just consensus, and then all the compute happens on this, let's say, native layer 2s, if you can imagine it like that. And you can have different computation environments there, but we're going to focus today on what we call the Sapphire paradigm, or parallel runtime, which is the confidential EVM compatible one that enables all these on-chain private applications, right? And at the same time, you can see here that we also have the Oasis privacy layer, and this is the layer which enables Sapphire to also act as a layer 2 to the Ethereum ecosystem, other EVM chains, and how those dApps can utilize the privacy features of Sapphire without the need of moving their whole dApp, their users, their funds over to the Oasis network, but just keep them there and utilize the Sapphire privacy features cross-chain, right? So, spoke a little about the Sapphire paradigm. The Oasis privacy layer, a little bit more in depth, is basically a message passing bridge where you're sending encrypted messages back and forth from the home chain to Sapphire. The computation happens there. You send the encrypted results back. To simplify the user experience here, you can also have a gas relayer, so users don't need to have actual native gas token called rows to execute those transactions. You can also sponsor them on your own, and this enables that seamless UX that users are maybe used to from utilizing MetaMask to interact with the EVM space, but at the same time have that privacy features, have those privacy features that are not enabled in the normal transparent blockchains, right? So, how this privacy is achieved on Oasis is through trusted execution environments, or TEs. There are many different technologies that enable on-chain privacy. We have MPC, FHE, you have ZK, but we believe that TEs are a good, let's say, compromise between the trust assumptions that are needed here and the flexibility that you get, general compute basically within the TEs, what you're able to execute with fairly low resources. And how trust execution environments work is you have smart contracts, and then you have encrypted data. All this goes into the secure enclave on the CPU, and then you gets computed over, and then you get the encrypted results out. and then you continue with your computations, right? You can also add here other technologies like ZK MPC to have that defense in depth, but that depends on basically the use case or how much privacy is actually needed for, let's say, a private order book. You don't need indefinite privacy, you just need privacy in that specific time. For, let's say, personal data, that privacy needs to be for a prolonged time, right? So what is smart privacy, or how we coined it, right? It's privacy when needed, right? So you have selective disclosure or elective transparency, right? You have public proofs of private data. Compliance and regulation sometimes need transparency, but at the same time, we want that public privacy, right? And then transparency with changing groups, right? So basically, it depends what permissions some individual has and how these permissions are then set and shared, right? So having that flexibility to change the privacy or transparency, and conditional access controls, right? So this all is enabled basically just managed by smart contracts, right? So there's no central party doing this, it's all done autonomously. So now we're going into the heart of it. So let's say some of the use cases that we kind of see potential in is confidential AI, private data management, DID, secret ballots, fully confidential NFT unlockables, seal bid auctions, games with zero trust assumptions, and private payments, right? I'm going to dive deeper into a few use cases, and then we can have a little bit of a discussion on this as well. So first, Oasis and AI, why we see a lot of potential here is because currently you have the big corporations that are kind of taking over the space. You have Google, you have OpenAI, you have the others as well, and they're kind of controlling now that space in terms of data, compute power, and everything. And in order to be able to decentralize that and enable federated learning, enable self-sovereign data of users and how they share their data to be used for training models and stuff like that, we need to have on-chain privacy. We need to have that, bring that ethos of don't trust, verify to AI as well. And we've seen already some good use cases with Ocean, how they're utilizing on-chain privacy, Sapphire's on-chain privacy to submit predictions on-chain for currently for price feeds for the top 10 cryptocurrencies, where they basically, you have data scientists, they run algorithms, machine learning algorithms, and when they kind of come up with a prediction if the price is going to go up or down, they submit it on-chain, and traders can verifiably purchase that data, not needing to trust anybody about the, let's say, validity of that, right? Then we have also Orion, Delta DAO, and many others building on top of Oasis tech, and we see a lot of other applications coming in the near future as well. So one interesting framework that we're working on as well is called ROFL. Yeah, it's intentionally acronym like that, but it means runtime off-chain logic. So basically, on-chain compute is often limited with how much is possible to do, right? So you need to kind of rely on off-chain compute, but then at the same time, how do you keep that on-chain trust and verifiability, right? And that's through frameworks like this, when you can bring off-chain components into the on-chain realm through remote attestation, through verifiable proofs on-chain, use the security and trust of the Oasis consensus layer, but at the same time have off-chain components that are computationally more capable and more flexible, right? So now we're going to move into the privacy and use part of it. So we're going to look at a few use cases, and then we can have a chat also how this actually benefits all the applications, right? So confidential voting we see as one of the very interesting use cases for on-chain privacy, because we saw how Web3 became very focused on, decentralizing also the governance of the protocols spinning up DAOs to manage treasuries, to manage projects, doing everything through on-chain governance proposals. And currently, it's quite limited because everything's transparent. You have, problems of voters expressing them freely. They can be coerced. You have also vote bias, where basically big token holders can basically sway the vote by voting in one direction at the beginning, and then basically other voters just follow them. So that's kind of problematic in terms of having that unbiased voting experience as we are used to from, let's say, more traditional world, like elections and the like. So we see this, and as one of the crucial things that we need to bring into Web3 as well. And what's good here is basically you have a lot of flexibility in how this is done. In the end, you can share individual votes. You can only share the aggregate. You can maybe share nothing, and you do a temperature check of how the community is feeling about a certain topic, question, right? So this is the flexibility that Oasis Privacy Tech offers, and gives a lot of options to the DAOs how they want to go about their governance. Then, if we move to the next one, is the account abstraction. This is one of the topics that's I think quite popular. We have EIPs on account abstraction coming out every month probably, or even more frequently. And there are different ideas behind it. I think in the past, the smart accounts, the EIP 4327, mostly focused on how basically who's paying for gas. But for us, we took a slightly different direction, right? Because we enable on-chain private smart contract storage, right? You're able to store private keys of wallets directly on-chain, and then use some other authentication method to sign those transactions to be broadcasted in the network, right? So this actually simplifies a lot the onboarding, right? Because when you have the question of who pays for gas, you still need MetaMask, right? You need to still set up that wallet, save the seed phrase, or save a private key, right? With this, you actually don't have to do that, right? You move past that hurdle, and you basically just have a very Web2-like experience where you use your Face ID, your fingerprint, and you're onboarded, and you can start interacting with the dApp, right? We have a team that's called Aptilon working on productizing this. They're going to build like a framework that you're going to be integrating to your own dApp, or also a third-party turnkey solution where you're going to be able to send your users to register and then start interacting with your dApp through this. What's cool about this as well is that it's not limited to EVM. Because you're storing private keys in the smart contract storage, you can also store, let's say, a private key of a Bitcoin wallet or a private key of a Polkadot wallet, right? You're not limited to just the 0x addresses, and you can have basically one contract for many different accounts, right? It's not that you have to deploy a smart contract on every chain that you want to interact with. This is just how you then broadcast those transactions to the designated chains. Sealed auctions is also one of the interesting ones. It's not limited only to NFTs. We also saw a need in, let's say, in bet selling of tokens, right? Where right now, if let's say, but we can stay on the NFTs, right? We had NFT launches, and what happened usually at the launch is, there was gas wars about how much people, were willing to pay to get that NFT, right? The prices were usually set, and then you don't have that price discovery based on demand, right? So sealed auctions enable that you can have private bids, you avoid the gas wars, and you also have truer price discovery, right? Because it's not how much you're setting the price at, but how much people are willing to pay for it, right? And this creates a whole new dynamic, right? So I think this is one of the very good use cases that needs to be introduced in crypto as well. This mimics the traditional world quite well, but with transparent blockchains, you can't really do that, right? Without having like an off-chain or a centralized component. With us, that's possible with fully on-chain mechanics to achieve that, right? One use case that we frequently speak about is also private trading, or how we call it private accounting. If we look at some of the derivatives exchanges, right, when people go long or short, oftentimes, I mean, most of the time that's seen on chain, and then you have other users kind of trying to get them liquidated, basically hunting them on chain, and that becomes a problem, right? Or some, if there's like a docs address that everybody knows, and that address went short, I don't know how much ETH, it gets shit on Twitter or anywhere else. So private accounting enables that you can have collateral on any chain, but then you do trades within the private Sapphire runtime, right? And then what this enables is that you leave your user where it's at, right? But all the trades that happen, you can have within that private space. Nobody sees them, and then you just consolidate the outcome when they want to withdraw it. Either it's winnings or losses, right? But everything is more similar to your centralized exchange experience, right? If you're on Binance or Coinbase or whatever. But at the same time, you're staying on chain. Everything's decentralized, everything's trustless, and you can go about your trading without the fear of somebody trying to liquidate your position, right? And then we have the confidential NFTs. I'm going back to NFTs because we see there's a lot of potential there, right? I think there was one trend in the previous cycle where you had all those right-click save people, where it was like, why would I buy this? If I can just right-click save it. Here we could have, conventional NFTs enable public and private metadata. So you could have here some public data that's like, let's say, more low resolution. For instance, if we're talking about an image or a character NFT, right, a PFP NFT, low res image, and then only the true owner can have the high resolution version one that is unlocked within the confidential metadata, right? Or you can even set different, let's say, loot boxes, right, in gaming, where you can have on-chain verifiable rewards, but at the same time, they're not revealed before you purchase that NFT, right? So it's all what the owner sees and what the public sees, right? So there's a lot of different use cases here that still have to be developed. We have Rehide, an ecosystem that's working on decentralized password managers through basically these confidential NFT nodes. So that's going to be an interesting one coming out, I think, in a few months. And I think the last use case that we're going to speak about is gaming. Gaming has a lot of way to go still on bringing more of the gaming aspects on chain. Right now, we see that the majority of the stuff that needs to be private in a game, it stays in the, let's say, off-chain side of things on a server, privy to the game developers, right? But I think here there's a lot of opportunity for games to bring more on-chain, to have that fog of war or verifiable randomness, that people can be sure that it's not being gamed or rigged behind the scenes, right? Even if we're talking about gambling, right? How can you be sure that the cards that you're dealt are not stacked or rigged, right? And if you enable that on-chain verifiability of the deck, it really solidifies the trust in the dApp, right? So I think here we have still a long way to go, but it's going to the right direction. And I think, this is it for the presentation. So in summary, I think crypto still, there's a lot of interest lately in privacy, right, in the crypto blockchain space, and that's good, right? We welcome that. But I think we still have quite a bit of way to go with users caring more about what's seeing on chain, what others can see about them. In general, also about their data, their privacy, right? How they share their data. And I think Oasis Privacy is one of the technologies that will enable all of that. Thank you very much. How are we for time? Do we have any time for any questions, if there are any?
We have time for one question.
One question. I think they're going to mic you up. so it can be heard on the recording as well.
Hi. Hello? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question about the Oasis AI.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that people can build some prediction mechanisms and stuff. Can you implement your own models? Why I'm asking is because in perp dexes, one of the biggest economical attacks that can happen is because of long tail assets. So you said prediction of price, but something very valuable for future markets is prediction of volatility. So if you can predict volatility, you can adjust risk parameters upfront. And there were a couple of hacks, economical exploits, not hacks, for example, for DYDX, and they don't have time to adjust their risk parameters. So it would be good if you use on-chain this prediction of volatility and adjust your risk parameters just straight off. Is this possible to implement your own models, prediction models, or yeah?
Yeah, I would say it's possible. Within the Ocean Predictor, it's not one of the, let's say, the markets yet, right? So VIX is not one of the products, right? Currently, the machine learning scientists, right, the AI scientists are predicting prices for those 10 markets that are available there. But that will definitely expand, and I think, yeah, that potentially is a very good use. I mean, probably at the beginning you would be predicting VIX for a broader market, right? Just going into individual assets would be a little bit problematic, and I think, yeah, quite intensive. But yeah, that's a very good, even a general market volatility would give you some idea of how the long tail assets would behave. Yeah, so I would say if you want that within the predictor app, you can speak to our colleagues from Ocean if this is one of the markets they would be interested in introducing. But in general, you could do a similar thing, yeah, on your own as well, and full. But that's a full development of Adapt, yeah.
Okay.
But good question, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Think that's it.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matej.